YouTube's been around for so long that you'll occasionally stumble across a video that feels like it's from a completely different version of the internet. People made parodies, short films, skits, usually recorded on a phone or whatever camera they had lying around. They uploaded them without much thought, little editing, no thumbnail, and no real plan for what would come next. And for the most part, those videos just sat there, forgotten. There's one video like that, titled Dumb Ways to Die Parody, the paper version. It was uploaded back in 2013, and on the surface, it's about as harmless as it gets. A couple of people dancing in front of a camera, wearing paper costumes, miming along to a children's safety jingle that had gone viral earlier that year. It's playful, it's awkward, and clearly just made for fun. But years later, something about it started resurfacing, not because of the video itself, but because of what happened after. And sometimes, what makes a video disturbing on YouTube isn't what you can see, it's what you can't. The video runs for just under 4 minutes. Each clip shows them recreating moments from the lyrics of the song Dumb Ways to Die, using homemade props and simple setups, with the camera frequently cutting between different locations. The music plays over everything and there's nothing else added. It was uploaded to a channel called JenthaCat, which belongs to Jen Oder. Originally from Montreal, she had been working on and off as a part-time actress, with most of the videos on her channel showing scenes from commercials, television roles, or small film appearances. Some of her credits included Backstab, Blackout, and Unnecessary Force, along with background roles in Spider-Man 3 and Star Trek Into Darkness. Appearing alongside her in the video is her husband, Vincent Maggio. He had worked as a fitness trainer and over the years had picked up a few minor acting credits of his own. The two other people in the video are Jen's younger sisters, Lily Carmen and Emily. There's nothing particularly unusual about the video itself. It looks like something made quickly, maybe as a joke or just for fun, with no real intention beyond that. But out of everything on the channel, this is the one that ended up being seen. It's been viewed over 16 million times since its upload date, back in August of 2013. But it's the only upload that looks anything like it, and outside of what was visible on camera, things had been quietly shifting. Jen was originally in the United States on a green card, and according to a blog post by one of her close friends, Robert Rose, that status was starting to become uncertain. In his words, Jen had a problem. Her residency was expiring, and there were conversations behind the scenes about how to help her stay. The situation was eventually resolved when she married Vincent, an American citizen, and moved to Los Angeles with him. But it was around that time, according to Rose, that her real problems began. By the end of 2014, the couple had separated. A neighbor, Jessica Coppolo, later told the Los Angeles Times that Maggio had taken the breakup hard. She said Jen had been staying with a friend, but that the two still saw each other occasionally, even going out for dinner together on Valentine's Day. Coppolo had spoken to Vincent nearly every day in the weeks that followed. He spent most of his time outside, chain smoking and talking about the relationship. She described him as withdrawn and heartbroken, but not unstable. She even referred the couple to a counselor, hoping something might shift. But in her words, nothing ever really did. And eventually, things would take a darker turn. On the afternoon of February 25th, 2015, police were called to an apartment in the 300 block of South Elm Drive in Beverly Hills. When they arrived, they found two bodies. Jen Oder had been shot and killed. The man responsible, according to investigators, was her estranged husband, Vincent Maggio, who then turned the gun on himself. The bodies were discovered just after 4:25 p.m. by Vincent's son, Devin. He was 18 at the time and had arrived at the duplex only minutes after gunshots were heard by nearby residents. The coroner confirmed it as a murder-suicide. Jen Oder was 31 years old. Vincent Maggio was 40. There isn't much else beyond that. The story was reported in a few news outlets, and Jen's friend wrote about his thoughts on his blog, but aside from that, there's little information about what actually led to that day. No formal statement from the family or any real answers, just a short burst of coverage and then silence. But the video is still there, still on Jen's YouTube channel, and still gaining views. And watching it now, it's difficult not to notice certain details. During the line about inviting a psycho killer inside, Vincent appears dressed as Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise. He's wearing the mask, holding multiple knives, and appears in and out of frame as the others dance along to the song. Nothing about it feels out of place in the context of the video, but knowing what would happen later, it makes the scene incredibly uncomfortable to watch, almost as if it's foreshadowing what's to come. You're watching a man who would eventually kill his wife. You're watching her beside him, unaware of how the story would end, watching the moment for what it was, and for everything it became. Most YouTube channels are easy to understand. You can tell what they're about within seconds. Music, gaming, commentary, whatever the focus is, it's usually right there in front of you. But sometimes you'll come across a channel that doesn't make sense. A channel with no banner, not even any information in their About section. Just a name and a list of playlists. At first it all seems harmless, but the more you look, the more it starts to feel like something's wrong. A few of them are what you'd expect: life hacks, dance tutorials, workout routines. One is just titled Dr. Mike and includes a handful of short health videos. Another is a collection of comedy clips. There's even a playlist dedicated to the Stranger Things show on Netflix. But then you begin to notice some of the other playlists' thumbnails. Some show people lying on the floor. Others are half sitting, half slumped against furniture. In a few, their bodies are rigid. Their arms are locked, their eyes are wide open or rolled back. Most of the time, someone else is standing nearby, either watching or trying to help. That's when you realize they're videos of people having seizures. Real ones, recorded in the privacy of their own home. Some are filmed by friends, others by family members. And somehow, they've ended up here, grouped into playlists by someone who doesn't say why. Most of these clips were uploaded as part of a medical record. Some include timestamps or descriptions of what led up to the seizure. Others are shared by parents trying to monitor a condition over time. In one case, the uploader explains that the videos are intended for doctors so they can observe the patterns and adjust treatment accordingly. That's the context these videos were created in. But on this channel, they've been taken out of that context completely. Each one is filled with seizure footage but grouped under different titles. Some are vague, and others are oddly specific. One is called Movement, and another is titled Eyes. Then there's another one called Lips, and one is disturbingly called Good Sound. And in the context of what's inside, videos of people mid-seizure, often gasping, jerking, or frozen in place, the titles just seem incredibly odd. It's hard to look at this and not assume it's fetish content. Not the kind that gets posted openly, but the kind that exists just under the surface, hidden in playlists, passed between accounts, never explicitly stated, but still obvious in what it's trying to do. And that feeling only gets stronger when you look at the numbers. Some of these playlists have racked up hundreds of thousands of views. One has over 1 million. So where are these views coming from? Who's finding them? And why are they watching? But unfortunately, that isn't the most disturbing part of this all. Some of these playlists include children. There are videos of toddlers, infants, and very young kids filmed mid-seizure, usually by a parent. You can tell by how they're filmed. The angle is often fixed, and a voice in the background might describe what's happening or note the time. These videos weren't made to be seen by anyone outside of a family or a medical professional, but on this channel, they've been saved into playlists, mixed in alongside adult footage, and even repeated in different playlists, collected by someone with no clear connection to the people in them. And in some cases, the same child shows up more than once. Whoever is behind this channel has gone through these videos, watched them closely, and decided which ones to keep. Not for medical use, or to help, but for something else entirely, and that's what makes it difficult to moderate. On YouTube, anyone can build a playlist using content that doesn't belong to them, and individually, most of the videos don't violate YouTube's policies. But when they're pulled into a playlist like this, grouped together without context, and viewed hundreds of thousands of times, the intent changes. And yet, the system treats it exactly the same. The channel is still live, and the playlists are still public. Most people won't notice it. They'll scroll past, or never see it at all. But for the people who uploaded those clips, it's already too late. Their videos have been pulled into something they were never meant to be part of, and nothing's been done about it. There's a form of meditation that exists within certain Buddhist traditions, a practice designed to strip away desire and force the mind to confront something most people spend their lives trying to avoid: death. More specifically, the decay of the human body. It's called Asuba Bawana, and it's often translated as the meditation on foulness. Practitioners use it to detach from the beauty of the physical form, to see the body not as something to be glorified or craved, but as something impermanent, something destined to rot. But the version of Asuba Bawana that exists online is very different. When you search the term on YouTube, you won't find monks in quiet reflection or serene teachings about impermanence. What you'll find instead is something that looks more like a digital morgue: graphic footage, disturbing thumbnails, entire playlists of bodies in various states of mutilation and decomposition, some from hospitals and others from accidents, and some with origins that aren't immediately clear. It's a practice meant to free the mind. But on YouTube, it's become something else entirely. The term itself comes from two Pali words: Asuba, meaning foul or impure, and Bhavana, meaning cultivation or mental development. Put together, the phrase refers to a meditative practice where the mind is trained to confront the unattractive nature of the physical form. The goal is to reduce attachment, not just to the bodies of others, but to your own. Practitioners are taught to break down the illusion of beauty by observing the body as it truly is, a fragile system of organs, skin, and tissue that inevitably begins to break apart. It isn't a punishment, but rather to see clearly, to accept what we are and where we're going, and in doing so, to let go of craving. The practice is deeply personal, carried out in silence, often in solitude, and sometimes using images of the human body in various states of decay to help visualize and meditate. And that's exactly what many people use YouTube for. Searching the term Asuba Bawana pulls up a long list of videos, most of them made up of still photographs, autopsy images, or medical footage. One clip shows maggots eating through the flesh of a woman's ankle. Another focuses on what's described as poor oral hygiene, where dozens of worms move around inside a patient's mouth. There are multiple videos of infected limbs, open wounds, and graphic surgeries. In one case, a full resection of the male genitals due to severe lymphedema is uploaded in high resolution, with every moment of the procedure included. But they're there for a reason. A lot of the titles are written in Sinhala, which is one of the official languages of Sri Lanka, where Theravada Buddhism is widely practiced. Some translate to things like foulness meditation or meditation to extinguish the fire of lust. In the comments, people reference the practice directly, discussing their meditation or thanking the uploader for putting the footage together. But the results start to shift when the spelling does. Searching for Asuba Bawana, a common misspelling or possibly a deliberate variation, brings up something entirely different. Instead of medical footage, the results lean toward real-world violence. One playlist titled Real Deaths contains over 20 videos. Another has more than 50. Most of them aren't presented as anything instructional. There's no voiceover or any sort of explanation, just shaky phone footage, often recorded in the aftermath of something irreversible. Some still contain medical footage, but it's placed alongside videos that seem to exist for shock value alone. There are graphic injuries, scenes involving visible blood and trauma, and edits that resemble horror projects or ARG-style content. And in some cases, entire compilations labelled with terms like real deaths, featuring dozens of videos without explanation. There's no clear reason why these videos are grouped under the same label, no indication of who's uploading them, or why they're using this specific phrase. But whatever the original meaning was, it doesn't seem to apply anymore. YouTube's policies are clear about violent content. Graphic footage is allowed in some cases if it's used for educational, documentary, or medical purposes, but anything uploaded with the intent to shock or disturb isn't supposed to remain on the platform. And on the surface, that seems straightforward. But in the case of Asuba Bawana, it gets more complicated. The videos under that name, while graphic, are often used as part of a genuine meditative practice, and the people watching them know that, as shown by the comment section. But that changes with the Asuba Bawana variation. While some of the content overlaps visually, the intent behind it doesn't. The label is being used to push something else entirely onto the platform, slipping through under a similar name, and blending just enough with the original material to avoid immediate detection. And in a lot of cases, it works. There are full channels built around this content, ones like 3GP low-quality videos and 3GP Funny 2. A lot of what they post is short, usually under a minute, and the clips themselves are low quality, probably to try and avoid detection. But what stands out isn't just what's shown, it's what's been done to it. These channels are taking still images from known shock videos, frames pulled from cartel executions, mutilated bodies, and other graphic content that's circulated through dark corners of the internet. They run these images through mobile apps designed to animate faces, apps typically used to make people or pets look like they're singing or smiling, titling the videos under Asuba Bawana and gaining thousands of views. Faces that are visibly injured or no longer alive, sometimes just moving unnaturally with no context at all. And the videos stay up. So where does that leave us? The original practice still exists, and so do the videos tied to it. But now, sitting alongside them, under a near identical name, is something entirely different. The videos stay online, and the line between what's genuine and what isn't keeps getting harder to see. Sitting in the darkest corners of YouTube, waiting for someone to stumble across it. In October of 2007, a video was uploaded to YouTube. On the surface, it looked like just another early internet moment. Someone speaking into a webcam, celebrating something that mattered to them. But the reaction that followed wasn't what they expected. And what happened in the months after has become one of the more devastating stories tied to the platform. Her name was Anne Catterick. She lived in England, and at the time of uploading, she was in her late 20s. Online, she went by the name LittleMissKit, a channel that mostly featured short vlog-style videos. The uploads weren't frequent, and the viewership was low, but that didn't seem to matter. Her presence on camera was easygoing, and she came across as someone who didn't mind being a little silly. There was nothing unusual about her content, and nothing that made her stand out in the broader landscape of YouTube at the time, but that was part of the charm. On October 29th, 2007, Anne uploaded a video titled OMG 5 subscribers, where she celebrated this milestone. The reaction was deliberately exaggerated, an exuberant, over-the-top thank you that was clearly intended to be funny.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I've got 5 subscribers! Oh my god. 5 subscribers! That's... Yes! Oh, that's so amazing. It's like 5 subscribers is such a huge milestone on YouTube, and I've made it!
But not everyone understood the tone, and as a result, the comment section began to shift. Viewers mocked her appearance, criticized her voice, and questioned why she was celebrating at all. Some users took it further, with 5 people leaving messages telling her to end her life. The feedback was overwhelming and direct, taking what was meant to be a light-hearted video into something else entirely. Despite the backlash she received, Anne didn't disappear. In the weeks that followed, she continued to upload videos to her channel. The tone didn't change much, her personality remained upbeat, and the topics were light. In December, she posted a video titled Power of Words. It was uploaded in response to another creator named Callie, who had made a video under the same name. Anne opens by acknowledging the video directly, and then shares her own thoughts, focusing on how people often fail to realize just how impactful their words can be.
On the subject of the power of words, which her video was talking about, words do have a lot of power, and it's true that you should be very careful what you say to people. Not so much because the words themselves have a lot of power, but it's more the kind of the thoughts and feelings and the images that it kind of brings in your minds. They have the more power. And it's quite true that a very innocent comment, the words themselves don't really mean much, but to the person you're saying them to, they can actually really hurt them or really make them happy. So you just have to bear that in mind when you're talking to people.
During the video, she demonstrates a simple trick that she says can help people deal with negative comments. And it's only afterwards that she opens up more directly, speaking about the hate she had received herself. She talks about her experiences, both online and in public, and how they'd followed her for most of her life. The message remained calm and thoughtful, but it was clear that this was something she'd had to learn the hard way.
As I say, I've done it when people say nasty things, and, you know, I've had hate comments on YouTube, and people shout at me and laugh at me on the street and fat, and, you know, and I've had it all my life, and, you know, those comments do hurt when they originally happen, but using this technique, it helps, and, you know, you can actually lessen the effect of them. So now when I think about some of those comments, and especially the more hurtful ones, they don't hurt as much. And, you know, and if you ever do get to a situation where, you know, you are feeling down, use that same technique. Just hold those two fingers together and remember the good feelings from the good comments.
Despite this, her uploads would continue. The last proper upload came in early 2008, titled Hamster of Nolt's Dance, a remixed clip taken from another YouTuber's video. But after that, the channel went quiet. Behind the scenes, things had changed. The comments never really stopped, and over time, they began to take a toll. Anne became withdrawn, and according to those who knew her, the bullying she faced online had made her deeply depressed. Eventually, it reached a point where she couldn't keep going. On March 13th, 2008, Anne took her own life. Her parents would confirm her passing in the About section of her channel roughly a week later, using the same account Anne had once used to celebrate her 5 subscribers. To this day, Anne's channel is still online. All of her videos, including the one where she celebrated 5 subscribers, are still publicly available. But watching them now feels different. The tone hasn't changed, but the meaning has. What once looked like a small moment of joy now sits beside a story that most people never saw coming. Since her death, the channel has grown far beyond anything Anne likely imagined. She now has over 100,000 subscribers, a number that would have seemed impossible at the time she recorded that first video. And while some of that growth came from the attention around her passing, it also shows just how many people were moved by who she was and what happened to her. Her channel is now a fragment of someone who isn't here anymore, and watching it now, it's hard to separate the excitement in her voice from the weight of what would follow. A woman who played up her achievement on YouTube, now remembered for the way the platform failed her.